Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I get excited when I hear this opportunity that I'm going to get to interview some dear friends who are doing phenomenal work in the greater Houston region. And they are some incredible people, always in the middle of every conversation that has to do with looking at anything regarding public affairs, et cetera. And they are none other than Jim Granato and Renee Cross, and they head up the Hobby School of Public Affairs. Jim is a dean and professor at the Hobby School of Public Affairs at the University of Houston. Go Cougs. And of course, my friend Renee Cross, she's the senior executive director and researcher. They have grown by leaps and bounds. They've got a phenomenal building now at the University of Houston, which houses them. And it's a thrill to have both of you on today. Welcome, and thanks for the partnership we have with you all.
Well, thank you. We're happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Both of you, Renee, so much to look at when you think of the things that you all can be involved in, and you've got to pick and choose. I know that you all do, but I want you to just take a minute and just appreciate how valuable you are to this region, the research that you all do, the impact it has on public policy. And we're just fortunate to have a relationship, and we're going to bring our friend back, Jim, to our data summit where he can share some of the great things that you all are researching and discovering. I'm going to stop there to say, Dean, tell us a little bit about, what you're excited about, the Hobby School of Public Affairs that you'd like to share with the audience.
It's just the growth. Our original mission, we created the school in 2015. The top metric in our business plan was student placement. And so our curriculum, everything is directed towards that. It's quant training, ethics training, writing, student practicums / internship programs and leadership. And what we've seen is just a phenomenal growth in the number of students that now are part of the school. We went from 9 when we started. We're over 300 now. And the projection is that we'll be over 500 in about 4 years. A mature school is typically about 1,000, so we expect by the early 2030s will be about 1,000. So, but in terms of what's going on, it used to be 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I knew everything was going on at the school, reports and everything. And usually I helped write them. Today, I have to keep up. There's usually 1 or 2 reports out every other week. Renee's polling with Mark Jones is just one item that we have that's going on all the time. We have the Center for Public Policy, which is working on, has created the Space City Panel, which is one of the only in the metropolitan area that tracks individuals over time. So it's like the gold standard when you do a survey because you're tracking the same people over time. That's a very valuable new component of the school. But in general, and Renee can fill in a lot that I'm missing. Our intern programs are exploding. There's so many projects we're doing on a variety of issues in the city and in the region, even the state.
Yes.
It's just hard to keep up at this point for me.
Well, and not only are you all doing a lot of work, but it's having significant impact. And that's why I'm going to punt to you, Renee. Let's talk about the real impact that you're having on policy and information daily.
While I definitely want to talk about the research aspect and the research impact, I have to start with the students. Our students are very well trained, and when they graduate, they are ready to hit the ground running, whether it's in government or the private sector. Because as Jim mentioned, we have these different components. We have quantitative training. We have training in ethics. We have training in leadership and public service through our internships and fellowships. So that alone makes a huge human impact in our community and in our state. In terms of the research, for example, Jim mentioned our surveys that Mark Jones and I do. Our statewide surveys are often used by the legislature during the sessions. So keep in mind that Texas does not have an initiative process. So our surveys are one way that our policymakers, whether they're in Austin or Houston or even DC, can tap into exactly what people want.
So give me an example of one of the things that you all, looked at, presented, and became something that became a legislative imperative? Is there one you can think of?
Well, there's one actually a little closer to home. When we were discussing the bonds in Harris County to address some flooding mitigation,
Yes.
we were able to say, okay, would you be willing to spend this or this or this to get this or this or this? And that helped inform what went on the ballot.
And the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce used your analysis to present to our board. And at the end of it, we used your facts and your data to support the bond imperative, which ultimately passed. So that's a full circle. And it goes back to, Professor, the connectivity between the university, your program, Hispanic Chamber, business, the legislature. It's all connected, and you guys are the epicenter of so much of that. And the students not only are part of the process, but also become the ones that are leading these conversations. And so that has to be really fulfilling as a professor. And for you, Renee, to see, some of these people who've gone on to big jobs and take a little piece of that, hobby school with them, right?
Absolutely. And I never let them forget that it was the hobby school that got them started.
Yes, that's right. And make sure they throw that University of Houston sign up, because really I'm looking back at, my relationship with you guys and with you, Jim, is y'all were just 3 or 4 people. And as you said, the number of people involved, the growth, your board is just a true, absolute example of the right people on a team, hard work and resiliency, and connecting the dots to get to where you all are in the 4th largest city. We need you all to provide us with data, facts, and figures. And that's why we had you out at our data summit. We look forward to having you all back again this year later, because we know that to drive the economy, to drive Houston, it cannot be anecdotal. We need facts. We need information. So what's on the horizon? What's something that you all are excited that you're working on or hope to work on this year?
At the top of the list in terms of research that has a local and state impact is certainly our Space City panel survey Jim had mentioned. Jim, do you want to talk a little bit about that real quick?
Little background. So we started the work on this in 2008.
Yes.
Because they are very expensive. So the idea came from when I worked at the National Science Foundation, and we had 3 big surveys in social sciences, and the one that was considered the best of the 3 surveys was the panel study in income dynamics, because you were able to track people over time and find out what's happened with their employment history, poverty, how long they're out of work before they got another job, how long it took to get the income they lost when they lost their job, how long got resilience, how long it took them to get back to where they were. And the medical profession uses these all the time. The Framingham study on cardiovascular diseases starts in the 40s. It's now the great-grandchildren are on that survey. So what you're doing when you track the same people over time,
Yes.
it's gold, because you can have anybody who wants to be part of the survey just purchase a module and start to track what's happening given whatever issue they're concerned about. So surveys are really important. They're the telescope for the social and policy sciences, but in that ranking of what's the best type of survey, the panel is the best. The threat to a panel, though, is that people roll off. And so you have to struggle very hard to make sure you replace with people that are going to still be representative of the sample of the population you're looking at. But it's something we're very excited about. The other threat to it is that they're expensive, and we're working on a plan to keep it sustained over many, many, many years, because the longer it lasts, more valuable it becomes.
Absolutely. And we know that so much of the research of universities is dependent on grants, philanthropy, individuals, and Houston's a great place to be positioned, and people truly respect the work that you all are doing individually, collectively with those students. And again, this is why we're so proud of our relationship with the Hobby School of Public Affairs and all the work that you all do. Renee and Jim, thank you so much for making time for today's interview, and we look forward to seeing you at the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Data Summit coming up later this year. Go Cougs.
Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye.